that look? What is that look? That's how we start.
This is the face of 142 decibels inside my head with a mouth air horn. That was so gnarly.
Welcome to the show, everybody. It's Riggle's Picks.
Dang, dude, I am fired up to be here.
I'm ready to dance.
I was mellow.
Yeah.
You got me riled up.
Thank you. That's what it's all about. Riggle's Picks is back. I'm Rob Riggle. That's Darren Leader. And we are so excited because we have some fun people lined up. And today is going to be a great show. We got Rob Huebel.
That dude is funny.
Yeah, he is super funny. He was we're listed on like Wikipedia and all these things as.
Do you guys get confused?
As comedy partners, because we started out as comedy partners,
right?
And we did a 2-man show for a long time in New York City. New York City.
What was it called? Your 2-man show?
Kung Fu Grip.
Ooh.
And it was a really funny show. We got into the Aspen Comedy Festival with it.
Really?
And that's how we got agents. And that's how that's all back in the day.
So you guys built each other.
We did. We had very similar comedy stylings, and Rob's he always made me laugh. He always does. He always makes me laugh still. And so I love the idea of working with him. It was, I was like, I wanted to team up with him as soon as we could because the dude's just super funny.
Do you think that back in the day you thought you wanted to be as funny as him, and you think he wanted to be as funny as you, or was there one guy who was funnier?
No. I think we're both. That's what made the 2-man show so popular. That's how we got to tour with it and stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But I have a tremendous amount of respect for Rob and his craft, and I still perform with him. And Paul Scheer, our good friend of the show.
Yes.
Paul Scheer, Owen Burke, Chad Carter, Jason Mantzoukas. There's some new folks. Lisa Gilroy. There's some really new folks down there. Phil. We just have fun people, and we still do a show called Dinosaur down at Largo in L.A. every month. And so Hubes and I and the gang I came up with in comedy back in New York City.
Come on. I think it's awesome.
We still perform together.
Look, you do movies, you do television, you do all sorts of stuff. Rob, very successful. Huebel doing sitcoms and movies and all the things. And the fact that you guys do a show every month at Largo, it says a lot. It says you guys, still love it for the game, right? Love it for the love.
Yeah.
And it probably keeps you sharp and connected to your friends, right?
Now, for the people that are just listening and not watching, shame on you.
You don't have a TV.
Well, it's YouTube, but they can do it on their computer. You don't need a TV. But the point is, for those of you who can't see this, we have a new setup here in the studio, D-Man.
You know what? It's wherever you got this table from, you didn't pay enough because it's beautiful.
That's a stone cold fact.
I
don't even think you can see it, but there's beads on the side. There's
jewels.
It's bejeweled. Mm-hmm. It's bejeweled.
Rubies and diamonds are on the side of it.
Yeah. The cost of this table is probably.
You can't put a price on it.
It's something like you'd get out of Buckingham Palace.
Yeah, or I think we got it at Christie's auction, right?
I believe so.
Was this the King's table?
Yeah, and these were our auction paddles.
Oh, yep. Do you want that? I do.
Yeah. I don't know if I want it. This sucks. Everything sucks.
No, it doesn't.
Everything sucks. I'm Gary. Okay, these are our Gary paddles.
I'm Gary. I'm Gary.
That's the voice.
I know.
That's the voice and the face
Thanks.
of Gary. Gary, by the way, is not here again because he decided to go to a wedding.
Okay.
By the way, this let's break it down.
Okay.
This is not his sister.
No.
This is not a sibling.
No.
This is not his child.
No.
This is not his own wedding.
No.
This is his wife's cousin's friend's wedding.
Cool story, Gary. I got to say, we've done how many shows?
10,000.
Okay. Gary's been at how many of them? Maybe 1,500.
Maybe.
Right? That's 8,500 shows. He is off doing whatever the hell he's doing.
Whatever Gary does.
Like, Gary, are you going to be there? Because we got to do this. No, I got to go get dog food.
Yeah.
No, I got to go to...
Dog food? Can't you do it after the show?
No.
It's dog food, man.
Dude, it's Safeway. They only...
Yeah.
Bro, the guy's just MIA. And this BS excuse of being at some cousin's, friend's, uncle's, mom's wedding?
Yeah, and not even in the state. Like, had to travel all the way across country for it.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. But the good news is we got Claire.
Claire.
Claire's in the house. Claire, that's you.
Fair.
That was a really...
Are you okay, Claire? That sounded...
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Check your horn.
Yeah.
It seems like you got a leak in it.
Yeah. Your air horn is...
Yep.
I'm new to this. I'm working on it.
All
Sorry.
right, no problem, Claire, no problem. But we're very, very glad to have Claire step in.
Electronic Claire.
I'm excited for today. I'm excited about your black flies.
Dude, I like these black flies, and we want to thank the good people over there for supplying these.
They fit you so well.
I appreciate it.
And you look...
Do I look smarter?
I hate to say it, but yeah.
Yeah, I know you do.
I know.
Right? But it's weird, right? Like, hey, that's the bald guy with tattoos.
Right. When you did that, when you took them off,
Mm-hmm.
I was going to suggest you go to get the garbage.
Mm-hmm.
And
now? Wait.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, can I help you?
Yes. Would you mind helping me with some math problems?
No, I'm getting garbage. Right.
See, but that's how much of a difference they make.
Immediately. I can't read without these things. Dude, let's just...
You're the oldest.
I'm 52.
You're the oldest person I know.
What?
That's true.
You don't know your parents?
I know. Well, I know them.
Do they not count?
No.
Oh.
You're the oldest, one of the old. Okay, fine. It's a technicality on the verbiage. You're one of the oldest people I've ever met in my entire life.
But how do I look?
So when you go to restaurants and stuff,
You don't have to answer that.
When you go to restaurants, you can't read the menu
Nope.
without the glasses and without your flashlight on your phone.
No.
And you can't hear the waiter or the waitress, and the people at your table have to repeat themselves a lot. Tell me how accurate I am.
It's stinging a little because you're not far off. But I will say this. There was a point where I was like, why is every restaurant I go to turning the lights way too low? Because I couldn't read the menu. I was like this is when your eyesight starts to go. I was like, these damn dude, turn your lights up. Somebody gave me a pair of glasses once. I put them on. I go, oh my God, it's my eye. Now I can't read without these things. Like I can't even on the biggest font. I can't read without them.
It happens. It's going to happen to all you young people out there.
Claire,
it's going to happen to you. Okay, it's going to happen.
My eyesight's already gone.
Well, everything's going to go pretty soon, and I'm talking about the hearing, the eyesight, the lights,
aches and the pains.
Yeah, like the old rock and roll mantra. You know this: if the music's getting too loud, you're getting too old. Right?
Yeah, as I get old, I'm saying no. That's not the case.
Here's the case: when you get old, I can't see shit. I can't hear shit. I don't understand what people are talking about anymore.
Right.
I drop a reference that's pretty cool. And nobody knows what I'm talking about.
And they just look at you blankly and they go, aw, bless his heart.
Yeah. Well, bless his heart cuts like a knife.
Yeah, we were talking about that. That when people say stuff like that, you're like, it makes you think, like, what are they talking about specifically?
Yeah.
Talk about getting old. I went to the doctor 3 days ago. And I went in because my elbows were getting sore for no reason. I mean, so I
like a tendonitis?
Yes.
Okay.
So I walk in, I get my X-rays. Finally, after the 45 minutes of waiting in the waiting room and seeing all the crazy people come in, I get in there. He looks at me. He goes, "Bicep curls and golf." After he looks at the X-ray, and he doesn't even touch me. He goes, "Bicep curls and golf," and I go, "Oh my God, you're a wizard." And he goes,
"Are those the two things?" I know you play a tremendous amount of golf.
I do.
I seriously doubt you do bicep curls.
I have not done bicep curls for quite a while, but I used to work out, bro.
Okay.
But it's that motion, whether you're picking up a garbage bag or whatever, when your hand is in this position, you pick it up. So what happens is the calcification ends up on the bones, and that's the tender shit that happens. Oh. So I go, how we fix it? And he goes, there's no surgical option. I go, okay, cool, don't want that. He goes, we could do cortisone. I go, all right, well, when do you want to schedule it? He goes, right now. I go, okay. So this dude, he gets his 2 needles.
Wait, cortisone shots?
Cortisone shots in my elbows, impromptu, like right there. This dude takes spray lidocaine, right? And he's got the syringes here. Spray lidocaine. He's spraying one elbow. My arms here. He's like, shh. One-handed, takes that syringe, pops it off. Other hand, he's two-handing cortisone shots in my elbow. And I can't feel it. And he's killing the game. I got 2. And he did it the same way. I was like, this guy is the most rock and roll cortisone.
Okay, I was about to say if you were in pain or it didn't go well, I was about to say he's a veterinarian. He's not a doctor.
No, I tried the vet because they're cheaper. They're much cheaper. But
Well, now I want to know this guy. I want to know. So after this,
I will tell you, he's
unless you want to give him an on-air, shout out.
his name is Bobby Desfuli, and he's at Kaiser. I mean, I'm not advocating anybody gets any insurance they don't want to get, but this guy is a rock and roll doctor. He's awesome, Bobby D.
My elbows kill me,
Bro.
How funny is that though? We have elbow problems.
These are the real things. Like if you're listening to this podcast, this is a no bullshit podcast.
Yeah,
Like,
we don't play games, but
No.
we're active men.
Yeah.
We live an active lifestyle, so of course our knees and elbows hurt because we're constantly hooking and jabbing.
Yeah.
We're not sitting around watching the world go by. We're out there.
We're doers.
We're hooking and jabbing.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to sit around and like you had to get a sore thumb from just remote.
Yeah.
I ain't got time for that, dude.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
No, I got to play golf.
Uh-huh.
I got to fish.
Yeah.
I got to go hunting. I got to build things.
I got a bow hunt.
That's what I'm saying. Are you going traditional or crossbow?
I don't even know.
Compound?
Yes.
God, this is awesome. Oh, man, I want to go shoot stuff.
Living life to the fullest.
Oh, God, that sounds like now we up in the big leagues.
That's pretty much what it is.
I know.
And then it's just me bow hunting. Not hitting anything because I'm
No,
really bad at
just
it.
trees.
Yeah,
Tree
just
trunks.
and sometimes they slip out of my hands before I'm ready, and I'm shooting the side of the house.
And the arrow sounds like Claire's horn.
as it dies into a hay bale,
Yeah.
100 yards short of where it should.
Okay, right now,
Yeah.
Rob, let's go hunting. What do you want to hunt for?
Rats. Rats.
You want to hunt out of any game.
Yes, everything else is a pleasant, lovely animal. Rats, though,
Okay.
ain't nobody loving on rats.
What about armadillos?
They're ugly and stinky, and you can't eat them. So yeah, okay.
Okay. All right, rats and dillos.
You said dillos.
Dillos. Yes. That's what I said.
Well, you muddled it. It sounded like dildos.
No. I said dildos.
You mush-mouthed that, and it sounded like
I feel
dildos.
I feel like your brain is wanting to hear the word.
No,
Armadillos.
no, we're not. And we try to keep it clean. I don't like to go down and talk about dirty things.
I feel like one of our episodes.
Yeah.
I feel like we should do a rated X episode one day and just talk about all the things, and we'll put it behind an X wall, if that's a thing.
Is there an X? Claire, does this thing is there such a thing as an X wall?
I think it's called OnlyFans.
Oh God, we're not doing that foolishness. That's just not what Riggle's Picks is all about. Hey, by the way, it's time to talk to Rob Huebel. Is he available?
Yes, he is.
Oh, let's get that turkey on here.
He's a turkey.
Now, be nice to him.
Okay.
Rob Huebel, waiting in the waiting room. Rob Huebel. Hey, there he is.
Yeah.
Oh God, that's the most fired up I've seen somebody come on to get on the show.
Dude.
Man, I'm fired up. I'm ready to fucking attack this podcast.
Thank you.
Are we allowed to swear? Sorry.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead, Rob. I mean, if you feel the need.
Fuck yeah.
But
Yeah. Yes.
see, Hubes comes correct. And I was telling, Darren was afraid you were going to come soft. I said, no.
No
Hubel
way,
comes correct.
Darren.
Yeah.
No way, man. Every podcast. That's the guarantee.
Yeah.
That's the Huebel guarantee, man. I go hard on podcasts.
Is that in like the top line? Rob Huebel, he goes hard at podcasts.
Everybody knows that about
Everybody
me.
knows that, though. I know that. So thank you for coming correct and coming hard.
Let me make sure my audio is everybody. Do I sound good?
Yeah, you sound
great.
You sound great. You
I-
sound better than Darren.
What?
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That was very
I
weird.
just got a text from Riggle like 1 minute before we came on of all this stuff that we can't talk about. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, none of the secret military stuff that we did. I can't talk about that.
Why can't we talk about that?
Don't worry about it.
Any of the operations, the missions, we can't
Nope.
talk about that. Okay.
Nope.
Are you for real?
These are national secrets.
None
What
of
do
the we can't talk about the
No,
assassinations.
no. You shouldn't even be talking about the notes I sent you. So, and you should delete that.
Why
Okay.
can't we talk about it?
What about the cloning, the secret cloning program?
I would say no.
Well, it's so secret now. So
Well, you don't know anything about it.
right.
So, Rob Huebel, you and Sheer, two of my favorite people in the whole world.
man.
You guys have put together one of the most enjoyable shows out there in the podcast world.
Oh, our little Twitch thing.
Yeah,
that we do?
Twitch. Thank you,
Yeah.
Twitch. I
Yeah.
love that show. I can't
it's
get enough.
confusing. It's confusing to me. Thank you for saying that. But I don't know, Sheer knows all that stuff. And I don't really know like what platform we're on, like, because Twitch really started for like gamers, like people to play
Yes.
video games. And then, Sheer quickly figured out, well, why don't we just go in there and like do a thing where we just talk?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, because he's also, he's like the king of podcasts. And I was like, well, why don't we just do a podcast? And he's like, no, this will be different. It's the same thing. It's
So-
like we're
When you guys were a comedy team,
Yeah.
right? Coming
Back
up.
in the day,
Yeah.
Kung Fu Grip.
yep.
I imagine the last thing that was on your mind when you were doing comedy, when you were a young man and trying to make it in this business, hey, one day we'll have to decide whether we do a Spotify podcast or a Twitch broadcast. Like what? Like along the way, you got to learn all this shit, and you said it yourself. It's confusing, right?
Yeah.
And you got guys like Paul Scheer who are like, oh no, it's like math.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and Sheer's also a culture vulture.
Yeah.
Like he knows everything that's happening. He has his finger on the pulse better than anybody I've ever seen.
Well, he
So-
prides himself on that, on like really knowing what's coming down the pipe, and like I sort of pride myself on not knowing. I'm like,
just
what
being
is
funny.
it? I had a Hotmail address until like a year ago, and so
Why'd you get rid of it?
Yeah. Man, you should have kept that. That's a
You know what?
classic.
Because I kept ordering these boner pills and they never came. Like
I got them, by the way. I got them for
Oh,
you.
okay.
Thank
Well,
you.
that answers that.
But in all fairness, Darren's got a trunk full of.
Oh,
I
Boner
have this
pills.
program that funnels everybody's boner pill orders to my house. I've got a stockpile. It's great.
oh my gosh,
That's not
I got to
good.
swing by.
Mhm.
But yeah, so Shearer really knows about sort of technology and culture, pop culture specifically. And I kind of don't track all that. Like I unfortunately, even like I was thinking about like music, like I feel like your musical knowledge and your musical taste sort of like peaks at like 18.
Mhm.
And then you're like, well, I'll listen to this stuff now for the next, I go to the gym and I'm listening to like Metallica and AC/DC,
Yeah.
It doesn't change.
It
They say
doesn't
that-
change.
They say the music you love at 13 is the music you love for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there going, today on the way in, I was listening to Journey and AC/DC. It's like nothing's changed.
Yeah.
It connects with a part of you that
Yeah.
that made you happy when you learned about it and you went, oh my God, that's my stuff. And now as we get older, like let's face it, I'm not listening to The Weeknd because it doesn't connect with anything.
But
in
do you
me.
appreciate the jam? Sometimes, like, I don't know the artist. I don't buy some of the artist stuff, but I hear the song and be like, it's a catchy tune. I like it.
Totally.
I can appreciate the catchiness.
Yeah.
But there's an attitude that came with the music, I think, when we all came up that's just not present in a lot of today's stuff. Even rock today, it's different than when AC/DC put out Back in Black. I mean, it's just.
Do you think it's
just
what?
different.
What do you mean? Like more disposable today?
I just think it's more like, I think it's more cookie cutter today. They just go, ooh, this worked. We'll put out 15 more of those. And back in the day, they used to cultivate the artist.
Or it's some sort of derivative
Yeah.
of bands we knew. And then what's interesting though is if you introduce younger people to old music, they're like their minds are blown. You're like, well, that's where
that's my favorite.
That's where
my
this came
favorite
from.
thing on YouTube. There's, that category of like, kid listens to Rage Against the Machine for the first time, and they're like, what? Like, who is this? And I'm like, yeah, of course. Like,
Yeah.
they're great,
Yeah.
But yeah, but also I would say, Darren, I mean, I would qualify that maybe that I think every generation thinks that about their
I agree.
music. Like my father-in-law I played golf with him over the weekend and he was listening to like Cream and all that, and I was like, oh yeah, he thinks that's the best,
Right. So ACD's, the later stuff, he's like,
yeah,
it's not as good as my stuff.
Yeah. But
Where'd you
now
golf?
Yeah, we were in Palm Springs, so we played out there.
Nice.
And yeah, my life's goal is to beat this guy. He's not going to listen to this. I got to beat this guy. I got to beat him. I got to beat him in golf.
So are you close? How close are you?
I'm pretty close. I'm pretty
Okay.
close. I mean, like I'm not great at golf. I shoot like, low 90s. I don't know if I've even broken 90 yet, but but he's not an old guy, but he's he's in his 70s, but just
Yeah.
fit guy, like was a swimmer in college, lives on a golf course in Seattle, so plays all the
Yeah,
time.
all the time.
So, but I'm like, I gotta take this guy down, man.
Have you thought about like some sabotage?
Well, I was thinking about that when we were in Palm Springs. I was thinking to maybe try to give him like diarrhea,
Yeah.
and there's a thing that I think they do this in movies. I don't know if they're kids. I don't know how many kids listen to your podcast, but don't do this, kids.
Yeah, just
I think you can put
unadvised.
Visine in like someone's water bottle or something like that.
Yeah,
No.
but I think it's a fine line between diarrhea and death. So you got to really
Okay.
pay attention to the drops.
Okay,
I just go some
kids,
sort of
yeah.
liquid X-Lax, some liquid laxative.
That's a better move. That's a better
Yeah.
move.
Yeah.
But so I was thinking about that, and then no joke, this happened. I could not, I could not believe when this happened. You know how on a golf cart sometimes they have like we were playing at some little country club out there that we could get on in Palm Springs. They have a little cooler on the golf cart filled with
Yeah.
ice. You put beers in there, waters or whatever.
Sure.
So I was eating out of this cooler like for most of the day. It was hot in Palm
Just like
Springs.
ice chips?
Yeah,
Ice
just
chips?
eating
Yeah.
ice chips, staying
Yeah.
hydrated, whatever. Just doing that. At some point, I kept hearing this noise and I didn't know what it was. And I turn around and my father-in-law is dunking his golf clubs into the ice thing to wash off his golf clubs in my snack bowl.
Oh
you know?
no! You got
And-
fertilizer in your
Yeah,
mouth. You got mud.
You got
I don't
nitrates.
know. Yeah, I don't know the chemicals that are in my body right now. My testicles look like golf balls. I can say
Oh,
that.
yeah,
like they're like swollen and dimpled.
That's
That's-
actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
I don't know how cool it is, but that's a real symptom. Then you need to probably have that checked out. Have you had any other symptoms?
I can play golf really good. Like for some reason, like I feel really in tune with the fairway. Like maybe because I've consumed so much grass and so much fertilizer, I'm kind of like part of the course now. I'm not really sure the science behind it, but
I mean, it almost sounds the way you're describing it. It almost sounds like some sort of cyborg. Where you're actually becoming like Swamp Thing.
yeah, I don't know. Like I don't know your audience. I don't know how many pro golfers listen to this podcast. Like
A lot of them.
But I would say, if you're looking for an edge, and I feel like golfers, pro athletes are always looking for an edge.
Always.
There's no reason not to try eating a little bit of the grass, the fertilizer, the dirt,
I love that.
That's not
It
bad.
doesn't sound like a bad idea.
Darren
at
and
all.
I, we love golf,
Oh, cool.
and we're constantly in a battle royale.
He says battle, and I just keep feeling bad for beating him.
Well, that's just not 100% accurate. But the bottom line is we're always looking for an edge. So I may try eating some of the fairway.
I'm gonna go get a shot of fairway when we have
They
our
don't
break.
have that. That doesn't exist. That technology doesn't exist.
That's what you think.
I've never heard of it.
Sorry, Rob.
People would pay for it. People would
Yeah.
pay for it. If you bottled it, if you made like a sports drink with just a hint of fertilizer and grass, like people would buy it.
Yeah. What about like tennis? Do you eat clay?
Yeah, do you
Great
eat any,
question.
for any of those sports? Have you
Great question.
experienced anything like
Do you
that?
eat wood if you're a bowler?
Probably, yeah. You could probably eat some of the wood. Or I took my daughter bowling, and I was trying to explain to her. She had to go to the bathroom. I said, "Well, we got to wash our hands because your hands have been in the bowling ball." And she was
Yeah.
like, "Well, why is that dirty?"
Yeah.
And I was like, I had to kind of like, my daughter's in first grade. She's 7 years old, but I had to sort of explain to her the filth of a bowling alley. You're wearing shoes that hundreds of thousands of other weirdos have worn. You're
And the
sticking
spray that spray's not enough.
It's
Yeah.
dude, and you got a 15-year-old kid. He gets the shoes back and he goes, "Shh," and he
Oh,
puts
yeah.
them back. That's it.
Oh
That's
yeah,
not
there's
enough.
so much bacteria, and the bowling ball itself is riddled with finger sweat and germs.
and boogers. And
Oh, yeah.
perhaps
Feces.
poop residue.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, we don't know about poop. I mean, no one's ever.
That's 100%. It's 100%.
Well, why would there be?
People go to the bathroom and they sometimes wipe their bottoms. Sometimes
Okay.
they don't.
Yeah.
A lot of times they use toilet paper. Sometimes they don't.
Sometimes the toilet paper breaks.
Sometimes the toilet paper breaks and your finger goes into your bottom.
Okay.
There's all kinds of
You've
possibilities.
really
and they
thought
come back
this-
out.
you've
And they
thought
may
about
be
this.
they may be in frame 5 or 6. They may be in a hot competition.
Mhm.
And they got to get back out there. They don't have time for the dilly-dally. They don't have time for the thorough wash.
You think it's a subpar wipe?
I think, yeah, of course. And so I think you have boogers, hand sweat,
Wait a minute.
poop,
Do you think that people are not bowling their best because they're in a rush to get out of the bathroom?
Yes, of course. Also, blood. There's so many fights on a bowling alley. It's almost a daily occurrence. So the blood smatter too. There could be tons of blood in there. So yes, washing your hands is critical at the bowling alley.
Yeah, I just kind of brought this up as an aside. I didn't know that you'd really had thought about this so much about all the feces.
I think about it probably too much. I get criticized for how much I think about.
Yeah.
I think it's not talked about enough. I think that's what this podcast is for, is to really look.
We did
table.
debate, honestly, Huebel. Darren and I debated whether or not this should be a podcast where we bring on friends and talk about fun stuff, or if we should really dive down into
the science of
disgusting, the science of how diseases are spread. And it was, the original name of the show was COVID-19.
Oh, wow.
And we were just going to drill down
probably
on COVID-19.
Not very popular, probably.
No, it turns out when we tested the name and nobody listened, not one.
It seemed like everybody got
it's just
turned
a bummer.
off a little.
Yeah, it's a bummer. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a huge bummer.
Well, it's better. It's better to do this where you have people on and you talk about fun stuff.
Yeah.
and you don't get bogged down.
Never.
We never go on a tangent or a rat hole, and we just stay on task.
Yeah.
That's why we're the best.
Now, what's that? You guys can high five. This is a podcast, so no one's going to see you guys high five.
We'll know. We'll know that we did that.
We know.
Yeah, but you should tell the listener we're about to high five. We
Okay.
just high fived.
We just high five. We're going to do another one because that's what we do.
That's a high five.
We're on top.
Now, Darren, let me ask you this: do you ever partake in any sort of harassing Riggle over text? Like, one of my favorite bits that we do, we have a text chain, a bunch of comedy friends of ours, and one of my favorite activities is towards the end of the football season, when usually the Chiefs are in the playoffs or there's a big game. The ultimate is the Super Bowl. It's the best time to do this prank. But if the Chiefs are ever in the Super Bowl, and this, I know Riggle's going, or he's invested emotionally so much. So our favorite bit is, we have like 10 people on this text chain, is people will start texting Riggle and be like, Riggle, you're probably at the Super Bowl. Is there any way you could come back and feed my fish? I locked myself out of my house. I need someone to get in and feed my fish.
This
Or
goes
someone
on.
else. Yeah, it goes on.
Every playoff game.
That's good.
And for the last 2 years, both Super Bowls here. Just the dog piling. And it's the funniest stuff I've ever read.
I want to be on the chain.
And of course,
so
I love to play the bit where I'm like, guys, bad time. I'm at the Super Bowl.
Can it wait?
And then people are like, come on, Riggle, man, help me out.
Come on, my daughter. You got to pick up my daughter from school. I'm in traffic. Is there any way you could pick her up? Hey, I got an improv team they're a brand new improv group. They need a coach this weekend. I know you're busy.
Along those lines, this morning I called him. I go, dude, I'm not gonna be able to podcast today. He goes, why? I go, I got a babysitting gig, and the kids are amazing, and I don't want to let them down. So I'm totally with it. I would love to be on the chain. I think I could come up with some really fun stuff.
And it's 10 comedians that just love it, and they dogpile, and they're so good. I literally have tears running down my eyes. All I want to do is keep it, I want to answer everybody, but I can't even keep up because they're dogpiling so fast with the best reasons for me to leave the Super Bowl.
Is there any reason you would leave a Super Bowl?
Yes, great question.
Oh, that's a great question.
Like aside from immediate family medical
keep
shit.
Keep it positive, right?
All right.
But
other than immediate family medical,
yes.
No.
I can't think of one.
Off the top of my head, I can't think of one.
Right.
What if you parked in a risky spot near the stadium and you got an alert your car is being towed?
I think I stay in the game.
Yeah. I think he's
deal with it later.
I'll deal with it later. Have the car.
What if okay, so let's talk about George.
Okay.
And nothing bad happens to him. This is your son. He's 16, 15?
15.
All right. George got in a fight, but he kicked the kid's ass at school. We need you to come down. And you're at the game, and it's the Super Bowl that just happened.
Yeah.
And the excitement as it went on. What do you do? Do you say, hold on?
No, I go.
You leave the Super Bowl?
I leave the Super Bowl.
Your kid won the fight.
It's not a matter. I don't think that's an issue.
He doesn't even have a scratch on him.
That's not the issue here.
He really did a number on this other kid.
Well,
And
actually,
it was
that makes
justified. It was justified.
Exactly.
The kid
Yeah.
was talking shit about you. He was saying,
Well, that's
your
not justified. That's
he
not
was saying
justified.
your dad's weak. He's soft.
No,
He's a piece of shit. The
that's a
Marines.
weird-
I don't like the Marines.
No, I think that's a weird way that kids would tease one another.
This is the situation, man.
Okay, if that's the situation and he engaged, it doesn't matter who wins or loses. Well, I don't want anybody to get hurt, is what I'm saying. And
The
so,
kid was an asshole. Let's just face
All
it.
right.
He's
well,
a
then maybe-
real asshole. He was like an older kid that was held back. He's like 20.
oh, jeez.
Yeah.
God.
But George just like,
Had enough.
really just unleashed some sort of rage that we didn't know that he had.
He tapped into like Keanu Reeves Matrix shit.
Like the
Yeah.
Hulk, almost like the Hulk.
Yeah, like blind rage and just works the kid because he was talking smack about you. You're at the Super Bowl. It's third quarter, and you're killing it.
Third quarter.
Yeah, third quarter. And George is like,
Okay, that's
don't
different.
worry about it, Dad. I just handled it.
Third quarter is different. Third quarter is different.
Okay.
I tell the school I'll be there as fast as I can.
Okay,
That's
fourth
more.
quarter.
That's more,
Fourth quarter, 2 minutes left.
Yeah.
Tie game.
Yep, same thing. I say I'm on my way right now.
first quarter, 3-3.
First quarter, 3-3.
Yeah. I love it. This is real right now, and I love it.
It's really
Yeah,
hard.
I go to see what's going on.
Oh, God.
I know. And by the way, then I hold it over him for the rest of his life.
You know what? Now we're just going to talk smack about you for that.
That's a good policy. Is just to look for stuff to hold over your kids
Yeah.
for the rest of their
For
lives.
the rest- when
My
it's
other-
time to put me in the home, I go, don't you put me in that home. Dad, we got to put you in the home. You've been walking around the neighborhood naked. Don't you do it. You remember the time I gave up the Super Bowl?
Who left
Jesus.
the Super Bowl for you, George?
Yeah, who left the Super Bowl for you, son?
My wife was just telling me a story that let me think who it was. It was her grandmother, I think, was like, I just thought this was so funny, who I did not know.
Yeah.
But her grandmother was like, on her last days, like was getting ready to, to pass. And like the whole family came to see her. And the grandmother made this announcement. She just said to her daughters, she said, all is forgiven. And everyone was like, what the, what did we do? What did your kids do
To rate
you?
that, yeah.
Yeah, that all is forgiven.
Yeah.
Like it was such a haunting thing to like lay out there.
Can I say how
right
much
before-
I love that. And I'm going to use it. By the way, I want you guys to know all is forgiven.
Thank
What?
you.
Yeah.
I haven't done
No.
anything.
I like that. That's my thing now. I forgive you guys.
You know,
Claire, I forgive you.
Thanks.
So passive aggressive. I forgive you. I forgive you.
there's so many things in my life that I Rolodex through. When you say that, I go, thanks, man.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, all right. That's
Oh, good. That's one person.
I wish everybody would say that.
Just thinking about the worst things you did.
Oh, I only have 2, I think.
Really?
Yeah, I've really done a pretty good job.
Okay.
With your kids or with people?
Life.
Life.
Just life. I mean, top to bottom. I'm talking about
Two major things.
minute 1 to present
Yeah.
to this moment.
Totally solid. Yeah.
Rock solid.
Yeah.
Just a
Rock
just
solid.
a constant blow.
Unimpeachable. Unimpeachable. Yeah.
I have a question, Rob.
Yes, Darren.
The corrugated steel behind you,
Yeah.
is it for ambiance or acoustics?
Or is it a bunker?
It's a bunker. Yeah.
See,
I'm in my
I knew
bunker for
I guess,
when the shit goes down. Like I'm ready. I've
Can you,
talked to,
if you
I've talked to
mind,
Riggle a
would
little
you
bit about
describe
this.
when you say the shit goes down?
Yeah.
People might not know what you're talking about specifically. Do you mind enlightening us on what that means?
Yeah, of course. Obviously the number one threat to society right now is a zombie apocalypse. It would be not if, but when the dead rise up out of their graves and come back to attack us. Either I'm not sure that they would need our brains, like to feast on our brains. That may be not that scientific, just a thing from movies, but
Yeah.
we know for a fact that the dead will rise up out of their graves and come back to attack us, try to overthrow our society. So that's what I'm prepared for.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm sorry, but what I just want to be clear because this is quite a statement, and you've obviously built a bunker.
Yeah.
You believe and feel strongly, clearly, that the number one problem facing our society, not only nationally but globally, is it's not the climate, it's not politics, it's not war, it's not
those
disease.
are big, but it's zombies. It's the undead. It's the undead. Because think about how many more of them there are than us.
Tremendous. Yeah,
it's true.
It's
There's
unbelievable.
so many.
When we talk about this, the picture in my mind, I want to know, I'm sure everybody listening wants to know, does every zombie leave the grave hand first out? Like, you know what I mean? Because you see the hand.
I don't know,
Is
Rob.
that the signal? Or sometimes do they cruise the foot out first?
Probably. It depends on how they sort of kick their way out of their coffin, and they will. Like that's the thing. I don't know many politicians, but I should call my congressman and say we need to start locking the coffins from the outside because they're not locked.
Right.
They can be they can those guys can just they wake up, they could kick their way out, they could punch their way out, whatever, and then the dirt is just dirt. So then they're off and running.
It is 6 feet of dirt though, and that is a solid wood coffin.
With not a lot of leverage.
There's not like you can.
Hey guys, I hear you. I wish that it was enough. I wish that the 6 feet of dirt on top of an angry, brain hungry dead person was enough to stop them. Unfortunately, it's not. Okay,
Seems like we would have learned that lesson.
So can I ask another question, Rob? Because you've obviously done the work, you've done the research.
Thank you.
And you seem very knowledgeable about it. If you find yourself in a situation where the dead when you find that the dead are above ground and searching for alive victims, do you have a plan? Like what do you do? Because I always feel like I don't have a plan. I just don't. I don't think about it. I'll be honest.
I don't either.
Yeah, you got to get a plan because right now you're like, I'm looking at you guys in your podcast studio and I can see so many points of entry, potential weapons that the undead could use to kill you. I see a plant right behind you. So that's probably in a big pot. So, if I'm like a zombie, first thing I'm going to go for is that big pot, smash you in the head. Okay.
Yep. All right.
And then, your headphones, that's probably attached to like a cord or a cable. See, mine breaks away. I got breakaway headphones. Yeah. Yours are like, you got like those long cords and cables.
Thick.
Yeah, we got to get breakaway.
The zombie will wrap that around your neck and just like, choke you out. So, but yeah, my plan is I'm already 60 feet underground. This is level 1. And my bunker goes down about a half mile underground.
Oh my God.
So I got all the supplies. So what I do is when the shit goes down, I get the news over my ham radio that the zombies are.
You have a ham radio also?
That's the only way because they're going to take out all the satellites.
That's true.
Smart.
So I lock the door, lock my family out. I don't have supplies for my family.
I'm sorry. Back up. That's part of your plan.
Love my wife to death. Love my daughter. Unfortunately, it's going to be every man for himself.
These are good. This is good info, and it's real. You know what? He's not sugarcoating it, and I like that.
Well, hold on a second, Darren. We need to back up because you're talking about some really distinct, powerful moves here. Yeah. Some big decisions you're making.
I don't have the space. I mean, do I physically have the space? Sure. But I don't know if I have the emotional space to bring these people with me on this battle. It's better for them just to fend for themselves. And if they make it, great. If not, I hope we'll see each other again. But I'm going to be down in my bunker, eating my MREs, playing video games.
MREs, for people at home that don't know, that stands for Meals Ready to Eat. It's a military pre-made food.
Yeah, I love that. I love the fact that, it is every man for themselves. You're born alone, you die alone, and you end up in your bunker alone.
Come on, man. That's
it's not his job.
That seems like a very, I don't know.
You want to survive this thing or not?
I do. I just don't.
You got to think about it. Who's going to repopulate the earth when the zombie eats everybody? So there's going to be a real premium on top shelf semen. And if I could be, graphic. But by saving myself, and all of my bodily fluids and everything, like I'm gonna be at the tip of the spear when it comes to repopulating the earth. People are gonna really want what I got.
Are you hoping that there's a female who lives solo in a bunker that you guys can connect after the zombies
Who
are
are you
wiped
gonna
out?
sell this top?
Like I said, this is all hypothetical. I love my wife, love my family.
Yeah.
If it happens and there is a zombie apocalypse and they eat everybody's brains, but there is some hot, very fit woman that's in her bunker, we'll probably figure out how to connect and meet and start the work of rebuilding the earth.
I mean, I hear what you're saying.
Again, this is not. It's not like a fantasy, or like I hope that it'll happen. Crazy about my family. Do I get curious? Do I get curious about what it would be like to be like the father of all civilization? Sure. Who doesn't?
That's natural.
Thank you.
It's not natural, but
would it be kind of cool to be like the dad of like millions and millions of kids and have tons and tons of wives? Yeah. But it's not something I fantasize about, or I'm actively trying to bring about the apocalypse. I'm just preparing myself.
I love that
because you love your family, right?
It's defensive. I'm crazy about my family. I hope they don't get eaten by zombies. If they do, I'm ready.
So if I heard you correctly, you said,
it could be like a bikini model. It could be like, unfortunately, Sports Illustrated, I think, just went out of business. So all of those Sports Illustrated, bikini models are probably out of work, and
they got bunkers too.
They may be building bunkers also. So maybe we'll connect.
Is it true then that you are also working on a post-apocalyptic dating app?
Yeah. Again, this is all just. It's not like I'm hoping this will happen.
Yeah, of course.
I just want to be.
We know that you don't
prepared.
want this to happen. Yeah,
I don't want it to happen. And if my wife listens, my wife loves the podcast, listens every week. We'll probably listen to this. So I'm trying to head off any sort of confrontation with my wife about this, babe. Crazy about you. You got to learn to defend yourself. I'm talking to my wife now. You got to learn how to kill these zombies on your own. You can't come in the bunker with me. Unfortunately, I'm going to be busy playing video games, reading books. Eating MREs. So, and so I am starting a post-apocalyptic dating app where you can connect with other survivors, hot, sexy survivors.
I have a question about that. So if it's a post-apocalyptic dating app, you're basically saying you need to be on the network, but there's a ham radio involved. So I feel like this should be a ham-based app situation, or not even an app, but a ham-based code, so you can reach out to other people on the ham, because you get on that phone, sorry, this is the apocalypse.
Do you feel like your silo, your bunker that is only going to accommodate you?
Yeah.
You feel like there are others that have that, and the others that do have that, you feel like they're attractive, fit, single women?
Well, the problem is right now that when you really break down the demographics of people that can afford to do this, it's like older, kind of preppery guy, like preppers, and so doomsday preppers. Yeah. So it's a lot of conspiracy minded people, a lot of like middle-aged white guys like yourselves. So unfortunately right now I'm kind of waiting for the rest of the public to wake up to this, and for bikini models and so forth to start building their own bunkers,
Well, you are the flagship in this movement. I will give you that. I don't think anybody has thought this far ahead or done as much planning or preparing as you have. So hats off to you, sir.
Thank you. I mean, and I'll miss you guys. You guys are cool.
Thanks.
And
Thank you.
I just feel bad that you guys are so exposed. Like right now, what would you do if
I would throw Darren? I would throw Darren at the zombie and make
like a human shield. Yeah, that's a good idea.
I'm not the lightest guy in the world. You might want to throw your coffee cup.
Well, I throw, shove, push, trip.
Okay. I would take this table, I would flip it up on its side and get behind it like a shield situation.
Okay.
That's what I would probably do.
That's what I meant. I would do that too.
I think you said something about pushing me into the zombies.
I do a lot of things. It'd be a panic situation.
Got it. I'd try to be more controlled.
Riggle, that reminds me of Darren. Riggle and I, a long time ago, had when we were first getting going, we were pitching some TV shows for we were kind of getting comedy stuff cooking in New York a little bit, and we had the chance to come out to LA and pitch a couple sitcoms that never went anywhere, but we had a couple good ideas. I don't remember exactly what they were, but Riggle was so fun to pitch with because we would go into like these rooms of executives. I remember going into a big room at NBC out here in LA. Then there's all these people in suits. It's weird because the comedy people always like very serious,
super stiff.
Yeah, super stiff, as you can. They're company people. But Riggle would go in there and start talking about his exit strategy if the meeting got attacked.
That's awesome.
Remember, Riggle would talk about I would shoot out this window and I would dive out the window, but but he would go down this whole plan, which I thought was hilarious. Like, it was such a funny bit to be telling these executives how he was going to light the room on fire. Light the room on fire, throw their assistant through the window to break the window, and then he would follow them. And they would, I would be laughing my head off. And some of these people would be like, what the fuck are we doing?
Was that the opener there?
Huebel and I, when we went into pitch, we were still very green.
Mm-hmm.
So green. So we just knew how to do sketch comedy and bits, and we just liked to make each other laugh. So we would go in and do stuff to make ourselves laugh. And we were always shocked, I don't know what they didn't get.
Why did we not get it again?
Yeah, what's wrong with these fuckers?
Yeah, totally. We would I remember you'd give them the premise for a sitcom and sort of try to describe the world and some of the characters, and we would describe characters and stuff that we thought were so funny. And I don't think we knew how to read the room at that point. You don't realize this is
just green.
This is
green.
ABC, or they want family, safe background comedy. It's not too complicated.
We did not understand.
Yeah, we'd be talking about a couple football coaches that had pit bulls, to scare the kid, and they'd be like, "Oh, that's a little dark."
I remember one time we went into a room and we were taking a bunch of meetings that day, and between one meeting and another, we had to drive from one meeting to the other. And somewhere in between there, Huebel found these Snap and Pops, the kind that you throw and they would pop.
Little bags.
And he showed up at the meeting. He goes, I found all these Snap and Pops in my car. I was like, what are you going to do? He goes, you're going to love. He went into the room and started popping them all over the room. It was, dude. I was like, what the fuck is going on? And they were all like, ah!
I mean,
and he was like,
have you seen that scene?
And then he got done. He was like, that's the show, And it was
awesome. Boogie Nights, that scene in Boogie Nights where the kids where Alfred Molina's just in his house, totally coked out, and that kid's lighting fireworks off in the background. It was exactly like that.
Dude, so I have a question. You guys start pitching, right? How many pitches do you think you made before you got a yes?
Oh, I don't know that we ever got a yes.
We did.
Well, that's true.
We sold a pilot to NBC.
We sold a couple ideas. Yeah, we sold
a pilot to NBC, and it was two football coaches. Oddly enough, this is interesting. It was two
college football coaches, right?
College football coaches that ended up over in England coaching at Cornwall University. We came over to Cornwall.
Totally.
Cornwall University.
I forgot about this.
It's basically Ted Lasso.
You're describing Ted Lasso.
We were pitching Ted Lasso 20 years. That's so funny.
And that was in 2006.
So
we didn't have a soccer component. It was football.
It was football, yeah.
So how many, do you think it was 5, 10, 15, 20 meetings before you sold that first one?
Oh, it was, I don't know if it was that.
It was a bunch. You don't really know. You go in and you pitch, and they don't tell you in the room yes or no. Usually they don't tell you in the room yes or no.
We'll call you.
Yeah. Right. And then so you leave and everybody's so nice. You're like, that was great. And then you hear 2 days later, it was not great.
And so because I don't know that comedy pitching world, and I, for the listeners or the viewers or the 6 viewers and the 400,000 listeners, what would you say a successful ratio of pitches to yeses are?
Oh my gosh!
Oh man,
I know that's
hard
question.
to call. That's hard to call.
Is it 100 pitches for one show,
No, not necessarily.
It's not 100. I mean, there aren't that many places to pitch anymore.
Yeah.
There's only a handful of companies that are making entertainment, but
especially original.
Yeah, but back then, when we were pitching stuff, when we first started out, there was more. Like it was before Netflix and all that, so there were still like Comedy Central, Adult Swim, TBS,
plus all the networks, all the major networks.
Plus all the networks. And then HBO had HBO Comedy and all this other stuff. So we would probably have like 10 pitches, something like that.
Gotcha.
And so I think we had a couple deals to actually write a script. So we wrote a couple scripts, and you go through this process of writing it, and they give you notes, and then you rewrite it, and it was always super fun. And we just kind of took their money and said, we were realistic about it. I think at a certain point, you kind of realize like, oh, they're kind of they're not going to make this, but they're like, maybe they'll make the next one next year.
They're throwing a bunch of stuff against the wall,
right? And it's a courtship too, where you go in, you pitch your idea, you pitch yourself. If they like it, they say, hey, we'll give you X amount of dollars to write the script. We go away, write the script, turn it in. We give notes, blah, blah, blah. We turn it in the final. Then they can do whatever they want with it because they own it. They make it. They don't make it, whatever. But in that process, they figured out these guys are funny. They write well.
They're on
They're
time.
professionals. They turn in their thing on time. And then you get, you start building your reputation and stuff. And then the next year when you come in, they're like glad to see you. And then what do you got for us? And
you're building it.
Yeah, you're building it.
And it's really helpful, I think, to be seen as more than just an actor. I mean, not to slight people that don't write, but it helps to be able to generate stuff also. Like if you're 100% just acting, sometimes you're kind of, it's a little scary. You're kind of like waiting for the phone to ring. You're hoping you're going to get cast in something, where at least if you can write, it gives you a little bit of control, or
right. And more opportunity.
Well, that's it too. Unless you're like on a very short list of A-listers, you've got to create your own stuff. You got to be developing your own stuff. In this time.
The worst is like when you're, as Riggle said, a lot of that sort of FaceTime with these higher ups is really kind of building relationships and getting them to sort of like you as a comedy commodity,
Sure.
And so you would get a lot of auditions for their stuff that they had in the works also. So I can remember, just auditioning for, back in the day there were so many pilots, and it's really not the same way anymore, but they would make, every pilot season they would make like 20 comedy pilots, and they would pick 3 or but they would go out and shoot 20 of these potential half-hour shows, which is so expensive. It's crazy.
That's nuts.
It's so expensive, and so they're kind of revamping the way they do that now. Now they really sort of, I think, want to just see a bunch of scripts and kind of figure out, like, from the script, maybe we don't have to go and film this. Maybe we can just like figure it all out on paper first.
Right.
Well, the old paradigm used to, there was a structure. There was a pilot. There was a writing the script season. There was the note season. Then everybody went away for the holidays. Then you came back, and then it was time to cast the pilot. Then it was time to shoot the pilot. And then in May, they decided on which pilots got picked up for the following fall.
What a hassle.
So, but it was this nice loop that everybody knew what time of year it was, what was going on. And so January was always, we were always out auditioning for pilots, pilot. And then, God willing, you'd get one. And then usually in February, March, you'd film it. And then you'd wait till May to see if it got picked up.
That's a process. I got another question about your world. In the music business now, generally speaking, they're not going to sign you until they look at your socials and your numbers. How's your reach, and blah blah blah. And whether or not you write cool shit is almost irrelevant, because if you have 3.5 million followers, the record companies would be like, well, we got to do something with them because they're popular.
Yeah.
Wow.
Does it work like that in the acting world, and is there a sort of fear that is coming?
I'll jump in first here,
go ahead.
and then but from what you just asked, yes, there was a time, and I think it's past, but there was a time when if you were a social media darling, you got opportunities.
Totally.
But what happened was when they got the opportunities, they were bombing.
Yes, of course.
They were not doing well because they didn't have the skill sets.
They didn't have the goods.
They didn't have the goods.
I also think that there was the networks realized that you couldn't reverse engineer it. And what I mean by that is if there's like a YouTuber or like a TikTok person that has like a zillion followers, they thought at the beginning, well, if we put them on a TV show, all of those kids will watch the TV show.
Right.
Which is not true. Obviously now we know, no,
Right.
those kids, like, my daughter just watches YouTube and, they'll just watch TikTok videos. Like you can't push them into this old media infrastructure, So I think they kind of cooled on that as far as getting all of those superstars from, but like I meet those people all the time and I'm always blown away because they are way more famous than I will ever be, my daughter's like, oh my God, that's the kid from this, whatever. And I'm like, what? And it's like someone that, eats spicy wings or the spiciest Doritos and they film it. And, I'm oversimplifying this, but so those people just have there's just a different type of fame attached to that does not, to Riggle's point, does not always translate to like the acting thing.
It's just interesting to me because, music in the music business and the acting world with that it's very different because record companies really they'll sign basically anybody with a piano and 1 million followers. It's crazy.
Well, I think it might be different. It might be different in the music than the acting world. I don't know. There may be different, skill sets or things that are more tangible, I guess.
Well, Darren, is it? Obviously the kind of model of the music business has changed so much in terms of like how you actually make money. I feel like, it's true that you basically just make money touring, right? You just have to play live.
You basically, unless you're Taylor Swift or you're Justin Bieber and you're selling, millions of records because records just don't sell because of all the streaming. You have to go play live and you have to sell T-shirts and you have to, you have to create content and keep people engaged. And it's like, back in the day,
so exhausting.
When Aerosmith or Cheap Trick got signed, right, they would get signed to what they would call a development deal. And these record companies would train them. They would put them out on the road. They'd give them support to go play, and they'd give them money to go do all these things to build them up and get them better and all these things. Now they sign 4 million people. They throw them against the wall and they go, oh, that one's cool. That one's going to sell 1 billion, and everybody else. Good luck. Good luck, sucker.
Yeah, there's no artist development.
It sucks. It sucks. And really the big shame is these, somebody will record a song in their parents' basement. They'll put it online. A lot of people will like it. Record company signs. They go, okay, cool. They do their record. Record comes out. Now let's go support the record. And they get on stage and they go,
I've never performed live. Yeah.
They're like, what do I do with my hand? Hey,
I recorded this in my bedroom. I'm not a performer. Yeah.
No clue on how to engage with humans because they've been here the whole time going,
yeah.
And it's bizarre. I've seen so many artists like get on stage and go, all right, and they're like watching car crashes.
Well, I have a great appreciation for what people can accomplish on social media. So I'm a fan of it.
It's cool.
But so I don't want to sound like a crusty old guy, but the business of show requires a lot of skills, not just one.
Yeah. Well, also to that point, I feel like there was a time where it was cooler when there was some mystery about someone, where you didn't have to know. It's like, wait, who is this band? I don't know. That's so cool. I can't find out anything about them. No one knows about them. It's only for me.
Yeah.
Just for me. This band is for me. Yeah. And like that sort of thing of discovering a secret that connects with you really is a deep connection. Like when you connect with music, that's an emotional thing.
Yep.
Very much so.
And that could be with you for years, where I feel like there's something a little bit it's just like it kind of ruins it a little bit if you know everything about this band and all of the people and you know what their home life is like. And,
Agree.
I mean, I think that's
There's
true
no
for-
reason to go back. There's no reason to go back and check out more.
The fantasy is
If you
is
know it
gone.
all.
You know, like if I when I was coming up, if I could tweet Robert Plant and go, "Hey Robert, where do you get your pants?" It's just like no,
and
man.
he would answer you like,
yeah,
oh,
well,
like, yeah.
it's like the mystery of rock and roll and the mystery of these artists was so alluring. It was so cool.
Yeah.
There was that cool is gone. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, oh, they go home and pick up after their cat after they got home from.
Yeah,
That's not
like
cool.
you would think like you would just imagine that like, oh, they're in this mansion up in the hills and there's a nonstop party and there's cool cars and you know,
helicopters.
helicopters and all sorts of crazy parties. And like now, yeah, exactly. You're just like, oh no, he's mowing his front yard, and now he's skimming his pool to get the leaves out of his pool.
The sexiness and the romanticism is gone.
So-
I do
so-
sound like a crusty old guy.
Hubes,
We all sound-
final question for you, Hubes, before we let you go. Are you coming out of your bunker today? I know you're down there now.
You know what, man? I got to be honest. I feel like today could be the day. I've kind of warned my family. Eventually, I may disappear forever, and I feel like I'm having a great time talking to you guys.
Yeah.
I've got a ton of beef jerky down here already.
Yeah.
I've got some video games. I've got some arts and crafts projects. I got like some painting stuff and some crayons I can do. To keep myself busy. I think I might just say goodbye to my family.
This is awesome that we get to talk to you on this day.
That's amazing. That's an amazing decision.
And look, I hope that they have a great life. I hope,
Of course,
I hope,
of course.
I hope they have a lot of fun. If they replace me, that would also be. I hate to think about my wife with someone else.
Yeah.
What if it was with Riggle?
Well, I'm hoping that Riggle is not thinking in those terms. We've been
God,
friends a
no.
No,
long
that's
time.
me.
Yeah.
I'm saying.
No.
Yeah.
Darren likes to,
I would just ask you as a courtesy, please don't try to, move in to my house and take over my family and, replace me. Cause it's not cool. I've sort of told you as a secret, I'm going to lock myself in my bunker. I'm hoping you will honor our friendship and not try to steal my family.
Absolutely. And I just want the best for you guys. You're still on the east side. Yeah?
I am. Yeah. You don't need to write that down. I'm not going to give you my home address because it seems like
I got
you're
it already. I remember I sent you the Christmas cards. So
Yeah. I'm in Pasadena.
I just want to make sure you're
but
still there. You're still there.
Yeah,
That's good.
Yeah, we're in
That's good.
Pasadena, but you don't need to come out
That's
here.
good.
I'm sort of
All right.
asking you because I have already locked all the doors and set all the alarms on my bunker, so no one will
I
come
think
down.
he's
That's
just trying to be a friend and say he's
Yeah.
going to make sure everything's cool at the house.
I just, my daughter, we don't. My family doesn't need another father figure. Like I'm my daughter's dad.
How tall are you, Rob?
You've raised your kids.
How tall are you?
I'm 6'2".
How tall are you?
6'2".
Okay, you guys got about the same build, so I think this is going to work out really
This is
nice.
a bummer. And all right.
Listen, good luck down in the bunker.
Yeah,
and-
look, like I said,
I
I'm
hope you're
looking
not
forward to
right. I hope you're not right, because if you're right, we're all dead.
We're going to high five for the listeners.
Yeah, high five.
I like that you finally learned to tell people when you're high-fiving.
Yeah,
We
That's smart.
can be taught. We can be taught new tricks. You know what I mean?
we can learn. We
Hey,
can
great
learn.
talking to you guys. And,
Thanks, Rob
Dude.
Huebel. Rob Huebel!
See you guys.
Dude,
Thanks,
you're the
Rob.
best. It was so
See you
fun
guys.
seeing you, brother. Thanks for joining us.
All right, dudes. Talk to you soon.
Later.
Later.
Bye.
Thanks, Hubes. He's gone.
God, I couldn't wait. So low energy. It was like trying to pull teeth out of the guy.
Oh, that's pure entertainment.
He's fantastic.
Dude.
He is naturally he's so bright, so quick, funny.
Well, you know what I love is I don't think he and I have ever had a conversation that was sincere that lasted longer than 5 minutes.
Dude,
Because we're just constant bit mode.
dude, well
Constant bit, and I'm fine with that. I love doing bits with the man.
I did not want to be the bummer. I didn't want to be the party bummer,
Yeah.
but I was curious about the corrugated steel.
Yes.
And which led us sort of down talking about the business that you guys are in.
Yeah.
And also some of the business that I'm in. And
But we got to the truth,
we did. It got
got to the
real.
truth.
Yes, zombie. He is going to lock himself in his
and he's
bunker.
going to survive.
That's the main thing.
And that's the main thing. That's what we're happy for him. Let's give it up for
I think it's cool that you guys have the same first name, so his wife's not going to have a hard time remembering.
It's going to be so easy to transition. All the towels, everything with the embroidery.
Totally.
It's easy.
Yeah.
All right, friends. This has been Riggle's Picks Podcast. With Rob Riggle and Darren Leader.
Yes.
Do you want to say it? This has been Rob Riggle and...
Oh, say it now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just now. Just say it.
Darren Leader.
Oh, God. Okay. We'll fix it in post. God bless everybody. We'll see you next time.